Hello everyone and welcome back guys to a brand new video where today we're here back with round 11 of the F1 2021 Alpine mod career mode here for the Italian Grand Prix. Yes, I know what you guys are thinking. The My Team career mode will be returning tomorrow. We're going to really jump into that over the course of the next couple of weeks, obviously. But I've been enjoying the Alpine mod career mode as well recently, so I thought we'd jump in for a race here today. Of course, there is hopefully going to be an F1 fantasy video going live later on as well. So obviously, if you are new around here, make sure you do get yourself subscribed as well, ready for that one. But yeah, the title battle though, really heating up at this stage of the year. If you missed out on the Dutch Grand Prix that went live over the weekend, I would definitely recommend going back and checking that one out as well there. But this time around though, Charles Leclerc and myself tied on 103 points there in the battle of best of the rest there. Hamilton 15 points clear ahead of Max Verstappen at the top. But heading to Monza, going to be a very good track for Ferrari. Our car not the best on the high-speed circuit, so let's just see what we can muster up. Right, here we are then, the Temple of Speed here for round 11 of the World Championship. I can't believe after today we're leaving Europe in this season as well. But hopefully, yeah, we can finish the European leg of the championship on a high, get some more big points on the board, see if we can try and stay ahead of Charles Leclerc now in the World Championship. We've got a golden opportunity to try and pick up P4 overall in the battle. And maybe if something goes wrong for Bottas, maybe, just maybe, if we were incredibly lucky, P3 might be on the table as well. Here we are then, heading out onto the track, ready for qualifying for the Italian Grand Prix. Let's just see what sort of lap times we can get out of the car this weekend. See if we can try and get the car right towards the front of the field. Don't think pole position is going to be a likely occurrence here, but we'll wait and see as to what happens as we head down in towards turn 1. Trying to keep it nice and tidy on the brakes. Not a bad run through the first couple of corners. There is actually Alonso briefly fastest heading out of the first couple of turns there. Bottas, though, I'm sure this is going to be a very strong track for Mercedes here on F1 2020. Charles Leclerc, though, main championship rival as well, obviously took, I think it was he pole? No, I think he was right at the very front, though, at the Belgian Grand Prix a couple of weekends ago. So he should be very fast around here as well. And I'm sure how Ferrari would love to see Charles Leclerc get pole position for this Grand Prix, and far more importantly, try and win the race tomorrow. Terrible run out of the second Lesmo, though, as we head down in towards the final part of the lap, though, down in towards Ascari here. It's still Charles Leclerc fastest at this stage of the lap there. That Ferrari is an absolute weapon down the straights as well. Big kick of oversteer as we head through Ascari. This has not been a lap to remember for ourselves so far, as we've got one more corner to go. Can we try and gain any spots up in through Parabolic here? We're going to have to brake nice and late just at this end of the Astro there. And around the final corner, we've still got no bite from the front end there. Around the final corner, it's only going to be P14 on the grid for the Italian Grand Prix. That was woeful in the end there. Just not a lap where anything seemed to get hooked up, I'll be honest with you guys, and that's not what we wanted. Well, there we go then, qualifying done for the Italian Grand Prix, and it is Hamilton on pole by 16 thousandths of a second there ahead of his teammate Valtteri Bottas. Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz ahead of Max Verstappen, so it appears that Ferrari, yeah, definitely have a very quick package this weekend there. But yeah, 300 separate the top three on a grid there. Alonso, best qualifying session of the year, they're up in 6th place. We were 8/10 off our teammate there, down in 14th, but a very close midfield nonetheless there. And you can see a 6/10 gap, a 7/10 gap even, from myself back to George Russell and the rest of your backmarker cars there. But yeah, not the qualifying session that we needed. But of course, Monza, not the most difficult track to overtake at as well. As long as we've got good top-end speed, hopefully we can recover some good points in the race. Well, here we are then, ready on the grid for round 11 of the F1 2021 Alpine mod career mode here from the Italian Grand Prix. Not the best qualifying session in the world, but I'm sure the 3.6 miles of 11 corners here of this great historic Italian track will certainly provide some action, certainly provide some overtaking as well, of course, in this career mode. Obviously, Pierre Gasly heads back to Monza this year, with obviously being the most recent race winner here at the Italian Grand Prix circuit. Of course, Sergio Perez now officially, obviously, in real-life Formula 1, a 2-time Grand Prix winner as well. I'm sure needs a good race here today, you know, if we wanted to keep hold of his Red Bull seat ready for next year there. Lewis Hamilton, though, still leads the World Championship ahead of Max Verstappen and Valtteri Bottas there. Like we said, the top three still way, way out in front at this stage of the season. But maybe if Charles Leclerc and I can work together a bit, can't see that happening, I'll be honest, but you never know what might happen in the world of Formula 1. We might be able to close up the gap to one of them there. And obviously, you're still waiting to see whether any of the backmarket teams can score any points. Of course, AlphaTauri, Alfa Romeo, Haas, and Williams all still tied on 0 apiece at this stage of the year there. But getting ready then, having a look at your grid, it is Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas who lock out the front row for Mercedes here. Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz lock out row 2. I'm sure Ferrari are looking for a big result here today there. Verstappen in 5th, Alonso is best result of the season so far in 6th there ahead of Stroll, Perez, Vettel, and Danny Rick. Pierre Gasly in 11th place ahead of Lando Norris, Tsunoda, and myself. And then, of course, you've got Russell, Raikkonen, Mick Schumacher, Antonio Giovinazzi, and Mazepin and Latifi round out your grid ready for this Grand Prix today. 20 cars, 13 laps ahead of us. Like we said, the Temple of Speed, 13 laps around here. It's going to be fun. Let's head to the track. So here we are then, ready on the grid, round 11 of the year from the Italian Grand Prix, and maybe, just maybe today, we can have another good race where we can try and find our way, fight our way, really up through the field. We're going to go for the alternate strat here. We've got really nothing to lose and everything to gain in this race. We're going to go short on the mediums at the start, and then really try and drag the softs to the end of the Grand Prix there. 15.5 laps worth of fuel as well. We're going to go nice and aggressive on that, but I just want to dive right into it then here from Monza. Obviously, again, we need a good, clean start. That is going to be key to making up places in this race. It's 5 red lights, and it is an incredibly long hold, but it is finally lights out, and away we go. Off to a decent start, though, as we head down towards some other. We actually had George Russell trying to stick his front wing in, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to do anything down in towards the first corner. Oh, very, very aggressive, but we do just about get the car stopped. A little bit of front wing flying around there. Not too sure who that was from. I think it was one of the Red Bulls. I want to say it was Sergio Perez in this Grand Prix there. As that dive bomb at the start has really worked out well for us. Up the inside of Ricciardo and up into the points already in this Grand Prix then. So, yeah, that's been pretty much as good a start as we could have hoped for in this Grand Prix. Is it Sergio Perez that has picked up some damage through the first couple of corners there? Of course, now a 2-time Formula 1 Grand Prix winner as well, of course, after winning the Azerbaijan Grand Prix yesterday. But Ricciardo still trying to look back past us. Oh, we give him a big old squeeze. Big kick of wheel spin on the exit as well there, but we are now up into P10 of the Grand Prix nice and safely. We'll have to wait and see whether Perez struggles through Ascari. This is probably going to be a big telling point, as he's already losing ground to Vettel. Just in front of him here is Perez going slowly, not particularly. So I'm not too sure whose damage that was. That being said, Perez has got no top-end speed, so we'll wait and see if he does, in fact, peel into the pit lane at the end of lap 1. Yes, he does, so it was Perez with that damage then, and that has not been the start to the Grand Prix that he needed. We therefore get promoted up to P9 there, so 5 spots made up at the end of lap 1, and we're only 2 places behind our teammate now in this Grand Prix. We just don't have much confidence on the brakes, I'll be honest, around here so far. But we just got to keep our head down and focus. Manage the ERS as well, that's going to be really, really important in this Grand Prix. So you can see Ricciardo just using a little bit to try and get to us there. We just use a splash as we try to break away from the McLaren. Matt212 thought he wasn't going to go for anything there, but he was certainly looking for it.
We've got a lot of spare energy. Use your overtake button.
Ricciardo is using so much overtake in some really odd places around here. I'll be honest, they're actually a bit of contact to myself and the McLaren, as he's still going to try and look up the inside through the second Lesmo there. There's even more contact between us there, and it's just costing us both time at this early stage of the Grand Prix. There's yellow flags out. That's one of the Alfa Romeos going slowly and dropping to the wayside in this Grand Prix. I think that was Raikkonen, but don't hold me to it. Let's wait and see in just a moment. It's not going to make much difference to our race, however. Charles Leclerc, new fast lap of the Grand Prix as well, is not something we want to see at this stage of the day, but still no one retiring, so not too sure what it was all about. Yeah, it was Raikkonen out then of the Grand Prix, but now we've got a bit of breathing room to Gasly behind us. Gap in front, though, up to 3 seconds, as it's now the Aston Martins, the next 2 cars up the road. Oh, I think that's Lance Stroll trying to look past Alonso in towards Ascari. This is helping us out massively, these 3 battling it out, as look at that, Stroll has not made the move work. He's held up Vettel as well, as now we're going to get a big old run on all 3 of them here. So it's Aston Martin versus Alpine this weekend, as now Vettel's going for it. Up the inside of our teammate Fernando Alonso as we head round Ascari, or Parabolica even, sorry I should say. Are we going to be able to get a good run out of the final corner here? and maybe try and go for something down towards turn 1 there. Look at that, none of them have got any overtake. We're just flying past all of them here. That's straight away a double overtake. We'll slot to the outside of Sebastian Vettel, back down in towards turn 1. Late on the brakes, and that might have been a triple overtake in this Grand Prix. Yes, it is. Straight up into P6 of the race there. How on earth have we pulled that one off in this Grand Prix? Clearly, the top-end speed of the Alpine working wonders here. I said how this car wasn't good top-end anymore. I've just completely smashed that theory out of the park. Next up, Carlos Sainz. He's a long way up the road in his Ferrari as I make a hash of the second chicane there. And yeah, 4 seconds up the road to him. Let's get our head down and see what we can do. Obviously, we're going to have quicker rubber in the second half. This race isn't over just yet. Obviously, we're going to dive into the pits at the end of this lap as well then. It's going to be interesting to see where we come out relative to Sergio Perez in this Grand Prix, but obviously going for a bit of an undercut on a lot of the guys in front of us. Hopefully, I mean, we've taken some time out of Sainz this lap. Shouldn't be a bad track for tyre wear. Make sure we get it slowed down nice and tidy into the pits. There we go. That was clean. But yeah, hopefully we can try and close up to Carlos Sainz, maybe Max Verstappen as well there. I think Merckx and maybe Leclerc might just be a little too quick for us this weekend. But of course, we're not going to give up. We're certainly going to push right the way to the very end of the Grand Prix. 2.6 second stop isn't too bad either, as Perez, yeah, is on mediums, trying to get to the end of this Grand Prix there. We're going to come out a long way ahead of him, and luckily, a fair distance behind the Williams in front, just so it means we can push a bit more. Purple through Sector 2 and Sector 3 there, is on to lap 7, still no one else has dived into the pit lane here. We've got to hope that the Williams do from this lap onwards, otherwise we might still catch up, to be honest, but I'm hoping we don't. Well, I don't know, it's a bit weird. On the one hand I hope we do, on the other hand I hope we don't. Oh, there we go. Fernando into the pit lane, a lot of cars into the pit lane as well, as we have now basically caught to the back of George Russell here in this Grand Prix. We need a big old run out of the final corner, just in case. Oh, yes, it is George that stays out, which is good. Don't think we're going to get any DRS on him. But his new fastest lap of the Grand Prix a bit out of nowhere as well. Are we going to be able to get a run? There's Sainz! How on earth have we pulled this off in the Grand Prix there? We've managed to make so many overtakes up the inside of Russell. Oh, that wasn't great. Tried to go up the inside of Russell there. Had to avoid Valtteri Bottas as we just get turned in. Not the best run through there either. But we do come back out in the Grand Prix. A lot of contact with George there, as I thought, yeah, he might have spotted us trying to go for the move, but clearly not. And all that sudden time that we gained, we just went and lost a lot of it again. Round the outside of Russell, down through the second chicane. We got about 4 seconds now to try and close up to Sainz, as that all got a bit messy. Last few guys coming into the pit lane there, but if anything, Mazepin's done us a bit of a clutch and held up Carlos Sainz by about a second. Luckily, we aren't going to get held up behind him, unless, of course, he, for whatever reason, stays out another lap, which, of course, he doesn't in this race. But we should get back up then into P6, I want to say, of the Grand Prix. There we go, P6, 2.5 now behind Bottas and Sainz. I think the others are a little bit further up the road. Just hovering outside the DRS window of Carlos Sainz at this stage of the day there, but we are still flying at this stage of the race. Maybe a podium. Is it still possible here? We've made so much progress with the car over the course of this year, working out how it handles and everything like that. I would love to try and repay the team after a terrible qualifying and that weird little incident with George Russell. Sainz is now really starting to hound Bottas in the late stages of this race. Are we going to see potentially Sainz try and look for something down towards turn 1? Are we potentially going to get close enough to go for anything? We're losing ground to the pair of them as we head down the front straightaway there, but Sainz has just gone past Bottas like he was standing still in this Grand Prix there. A mega move by Carlos Sainz up into P4 of this Grand Prix here, but can we try and get a run on Valtteri Bottas out of the first couple of corners there? Using a little bit of our overtake mode, we'll try and use a bit more of the ERS as we head out through Curva Grande. Round the outside we look of Valtteri Bottas here, but can we go past him just like Sainz did? Bit later on the brakes, and we've just about pulled it off. Big kick of oversteer on the exit there, as Bottas going to try and look for it again. We'll cut him off, go a bit defensive. As all very, very deep through the first Degner. Through the first Lesmo even. As that was not what we needed. Come on, get back on track, get back on track. Oh, it's just been such a difficult day today. It's one thing I've certainly learned over the course of this season with this Alpine up to this point, is it's a very, very quick car when you get it hooked up, but it's on a knife edge. At any point, it is constantly on a knife edge here. in this 2021 mod career mode there. It's so fast when everything's right, but you get anything wrong, you overstep the mark by any degree, and it will just snap on you, and there is nothing we can do in some of these races here as we head on towards the final lap here from Monza. I think it's Lewis Hamilton still in the lead. I hope it's Lewis Hamilton still in the lead for our title chances against Charles Leclerc, but Charles Leclerc might be on for a big result here either way. Heading down out of the Lesmos then for the final time here in Monza, and it's, well, been a race with so much potential. I mean, we could have had a podium had we not had those two issues there, but I mean, after qualifying, to still walk away with P6 there, and effectively, I want to say best of the rest of this weekend. Ferrari just had too much pace that really we could have done anything realistically about there. Heading around the final couple of corners, though, I think, like I said, yeah, Hamilton is going to come through for another race victory here and further extend his lead over Max Verstappen there. Charles Leclerc once again splitting them in P2 there. Verstappen P3, Sainz in P4, Bottas 5th, and we come through for P6 in the end here in Monza.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
So Mercedes have won it, and what a great race it was. Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today. What set them apart from the rest?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take top spot. A well-earned victory for Mercedes. Now, let's discuss, Ants. Who would you say is a contender for Driver of the Day?
Let's give it to Esteban Ocon. That was a commanding performance today. Very impressive indeed.
Well, Ants, an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
Well, despite all the issues then, still able to pick up Driver of the Day when all is said and done there. I will take that very, very happily indeed there. And yeah, fastest lap by near enough a second. I mean, we used a ton of the battery on that lap there, but I mean, still the bonus point really does help us out. It keeps us a bit closer to Charles Leclerc. Hopefully, obviously, will keep us in the battle right towards the end of the year there. But like we said, it is Hamilton who picks up another race victory there. Charles Leclerc, yeah, trades that second versus sixth last week out with a second versus my sixth this time here in Monza there. Max Verstappen third ahead of Carlos Sainz, Bottas and myself, with Vettel, Alonso, Stroll and Ricciardo rounding out your top 10 there. Gasly half a second away from AlphaTauri's first points of the year there. Surely it's going to happen at some point or another there. Perez, yeah, a disappointing day. He did still do the one stop, but coming down in 14th place is not what he would have wanted when all is said and done there. And Raikkonen, the only man not to make it to the checkered flag there, means championship-wise, again, we drop back behind Charles Leclerc, then 9 points the gap between the pair of us there, as Hamilton now has opened up a 25-point margin over Max Verstappen at the top of your field there. Vettel gets to jump on Perez by 4 points as well after that disappointing result for the Red Bull man there. No other movers, though, in the Drivers' Championship. Constructors-wise, yeah, again, still pretty much everything pretty much set at the moment. Their Red Bull could actually be under threat from Ferrari come the end of the year there if things continue to go Ferrari's way in the second half of the year. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, do make sure you leave a like. Get yourself subscribed as well. And yeah, we'll be back very, very soon for what would normally be the Singapore Grand Prix. Unfortunately, now it has been cancelled in real-life Formula 1. But we've still got it in this game. We're still going to be racing there. You guys do not want to miss it. And we'll be back very, very soon. A big thank you to our channel members for making these videos possible. You can be featured in these end clips as well as granted access to some other exclusive perks for just £1 a month by clicking the join button below.